What's up guys, Houndish here, and today I wanted to jump in with some Destiny 2 Forsaken DLC news. So we've got some information about the free content that we'll get in Season 4, new details about the Gambit game mode and matchmaking for that mode. We can take a look at a couple of new exotics and perks this time around, more details on the Dreaming City, and a bunch of other updates, so let's jump straight into it. So getting into things, there's been a lot of conversation about the price of the expansion and the annual pass, the different content that will come with this DLC. Christopher Barrett did confirm that the items on the roadmap are available to all players of Destiny 2, and so everything we get in September for Year 2, gear collections, triumphs, slot changes, randomization, mods, bulk shader deletion, the Crucible modes, new maps, 200 vault spaces, in-game lore, bounties, and changes to power in the Iron Banner and Trials. So those elements will be affected whether you buy this DLC or not. The only thing to exclude currently on this list would be expansion 1 and 2 raid layers for Prestige, which come in July, because technically you'd need Curse of Osiris and Warmind to do that. I'll talk more about the annual pass, the pricing, and some things about that in a moment. But to talk about Gambit, the new game mode, Lars Bakken said, we've seen a lot of people asking if Gambit is match made, and the answer is yes, absolutely. We want everyone to be able to get into it at any time and play around for funsies or for serious and absolutely reap the great rewards. Can't wait for everyone to try it out. So this is actually pretty significant because, you look at Nightfalls, you look at Escalation Protocol, even raids. For the longest time, a lot of endgame stuff has not had matchmaking for it, and presumably Gambit will be a part of the endgame. So to finally have some matchmaking coming to these kind of activities, especially for this new mode which is PvE VP, obviously it's a bit of a different concept, but it will have its own matchmaking. They confirmed that it will appear on the Director in its own spot, separate from Crucible and the Vanguard. And also we've seen a couple of different shots of maps. So we had one in this fallen looking area on the reef. We also saw a little bit of gameplay of one in the European Dead Zone as well. So it will work a little bit like the classic Crucible as far as maps go. Here we can point out a couple of interesting things from this section of the video though. So the Warlock is holding a new trace rifle. We've also seen footage of trace rifles in other parts of the trailers. The exotic icon for this trace rifle is also visible, so it's confirmation that it is indeed an exotic. We can also assume as well that the gauntlets the Titan is wearing will be exotic, have these very interesting kind of flare effects on them. And for the boots that the Warlock is wearing, you can see this little kind of blue light on it. We've pointed out a bunch of different things that have been on developer screens, but we can actually see the model image for these boots on the screen, and then the highlighted node on the right hand side there says arc beam damage extends the super perk, and below that we've got arc beam extends the super float perk. So obviously these are going to be exotic perks for these boots. Doing damage will actually extend the duration of the effect, and it will extend your ability to float while you're actually firing this new kind of arc beam. So that's going to be pretty cool. It's interesting that we're seeing new exotics, so there will be new super exotics as well. On the subject of exotics though, somebody said, I'm a little fuzzy on collections. Will it work like exotics and allow me to pick up something again if I dismantle it? And Cosmo confirmed if you have earned it in the past, then yes. So it will work much like the exotic kiosks do right now, but of course they go around with you on your character, kind of like the new emote wheel. Somebody was asking about the Dreaming City and what kinds of things we might see there. Lars Bakken said, not talking about specifics just yet. Expect those conversations later in the year. So of course we have seen a bunch of cinematics of the Dreaming City. It's supposed to be the Awoken homeland. They say that various endgame pursuits will take place here. We've seen gear that appears to be themed around the Dreaming City. On the screen right here though, we do see what looks like some unique kind of armor. I believe this is a Warlock. This could be concept art by the looks of it as well. So possibly they're working on maybe raid sets or something like that. But again, it carries that similar Dreaming City aesthetic, but it's different from other Warlock armor we've seen. So there is going to be quite a lot of new gear in here. On the subject of some of the story though, and the Awoken, on Bungie's website it says the hunt is on for 8 barons who've escaped the Prison of Elders. Your pursuit of these fugitives will take you to uncharted regions and ultimately reveal long-lost Awoken secrets. So uncharted regions and Awoken secrets, of course, that could be stuff hidden in the Dreaming City, the Awoken homeland. It makes a lot of sense. Also, Mara Sov, the Queen of the Awoken, this introduces a significant possibility that Mara Sov could return. But in terms of those 8 barons right there, this image we can see Cade, the hunt is on, and ahead of him right there we see the various different types of barons, some of which we've seen in the cinematics. The one at the forefront with the big kind of tanky thing on its back is pretty interesting. Almost looks like that could be like a flamethrower or something crazy, but of course we'll have to wait and see. The new reef space is going to be pretty interesting as well. The most lawless frontier in all the reef. The Tangled Shore is a dangerous web of asteroids lashed together. Its isolated location, far from Vanguard and Awoken Authority, authorities make it an ideal home for pirates and outlaws seeking marooned treasures. So going to be a pretty interesting space. I really like that idea as well of separate kind of bits of rock that have been kind of strung together to form this crazy outpost space. Before we move on to other stuff though, I wanted to just reiterate a few things about this hand cannon. A lot of people have speculated this is the Thorn. The interesting thing about this weapon is that it isn't identical to the Thorn, but it is incredibly similar, and you've also got a different kind of skin and effect on the weapon. Some folks have begun to speculate that this could actually be the Rose hand cannon. Of course, there is quite a bit of lore to the Thorn. It was originally the Rose. It belonged to a guardian called Dredgenyor, who eventually fell to the Hive Darkness, and the Rose hand cannon became the Thorn. I'm not the most savvy when it comes to the lore around that, but I'm hearing speculation that this could indeed be the case. Any of you guys who know the lore very well, I'd be very curious to hear whether you think this could be a possibility as well. Moving on though, somebody asked, can we get some info about Trials updates anytime soon? Derek Carroll said, Trials is on the roadmap, but we're not ready to talk about it yet. So suggesting there could be some significant changes to Trials. Obviously, we have the no radar trials right now. It seems entirely possible that based on feedback that could change. Maybe Bungie want to do something innovative altogether with Trials. The one thing to point out about it on the roadmap is that it says power is going to matter in Trials after September. It's also the same for the Iron Banner, so those PvP endgame activities will once again see power level actually influence the game. And personally, I'm a pretty big fan of that. So back to the subject of the Forsaken pre-orders, the annual pass and all of that kind of stuff. Bungie said there will be additional D2 Forsaken product options unveiled later this year for players who do not own the Destiny 2 base game and both expansions. They also show an image here of the currently available bundles. So you've got Forsaken. This is the standard version with the Cade's Exotic Stash pre-order bonus. And then you can get the version with the annual pass included. That is $70. Then the digital deluxe version is $80. And you also get the Awoken Legend set as well as everything else. There's been a lot of conversation about the price of this expansion, whether it should be free, the fact that players have to purchase the annual pass. This is an interesting conversation because, of course, perceived value is an important thing here. Some folks are very happy to pay that price. Others feel like because of some of the missteps with Destiny in general, that the expansion should be free. I can't personally complain about it. I play a lot of Destiny. If the content is as good as it looks that we're going to be getting, then for me personally, I'm going to get my money's worth over and over and over again. I can't sit here and lie about that. Like I said, it's all down to personal opinion. Let me know what you guys think below. The bit that I'm personally not as keen on is the fact that you have to own the first 2 expansions for Destiny 2 in order to actually play this. The idea that they would have to buy 2 expansions they may never even play is kind of crazy. That's personally my least favorite bit about all of this. I don't mind so much about the annual pass or the game itself. But again, everybody's opinion is different. Everyone's entitled to one, so let me know what you guys think below. Now, if you're playing in the faction rallies this week, I wanted to point out some stuff about the catalyst that you can pick up. So we can now see the objectives for the individual weapons and what you need to actually do. Of course, Graviton Lance is a pretty popular one. A lot of people are trying to get this week. Of course, you get to rank 50 in Dead Orbit, and then you'll be able to pick this up. But to actually complete the masterwork, you will need to defeat 500 enemies while getting 1,000 kills with the Cosmology perk. So that's purely with the kind of AoE explosion from the weapon. You will need an additional 1,000 kills, so it's one hell of a grind. Next though, we have the Sunshot, of course, coming from FWC at rank 50. Also for this, you'll need to defeat 500 enemies and get 1,000 Sunblast kills. So it's also going to be a bit of a grind, but it's certainly going to be one of the better catalysts. Plus 30 range and 20 stability on a hand cannon is definitely very good. The final one would, of course, be the Sweet Business. And with this, you'll need to get 250 multi-kills. So you'll have to get 4 kills in a row, or at least that's how it looks from the description, 250 times over to actually finish upgrading the masterwork. So it's definitely a grind. Let me know if you've managed to pick any up. I'm also planning to post some videos here about some of the masterworks shortly. Just a quick update, Bungie did drop hotfix 1.2.1.1 yesterday. They fixed the Nightfall unique rewards issue, so if you're playing those now, you should be eligible to get those dropped. Fixed an issue where players could fully unequip weapons from the weapon slots using Bungie.net's API, and some problems with Nvidia-powered laptops where they would launch into a permanent black screen. So hopefully if you've had any of those issues, they should have improved. But guys, that is going to summarize the video for now. Like I said, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. If you have enjoyed this video though, a like really helps me out on the channel. Also, if you're new around here, be sure to hit subscribe if you want to keep up to date with Destiny 2 news and content going forward. Check out my sponsor Into the AM for some awesome clothing in their store. Really neat hats, hoodies, bandanas, accessories, Overwatch League shirts, and a bunch of other stuff, and you can save 10% by using code Houndish. The link for that will be below if you're interested. For now though, I appreciate you watching guys. I will catch you very soon.